Winter during the Ice Age? Try living in temperatures way below freezing while sharing a small hole in the ground with 8 other people and a rabid wolf. You are Grug. And you might ask, how did cavemen survive without houses? Simple answer, they didn't stay very warm or dry, and that was just part of life. Picture this: outside, it's colder than your ex's heart, and inside, it's not much better. You got a pit dwelling dug below the frost line, which is just a fancy way of saying hole. It's filled with your family, a few stray mammoth bones, and let's be honest, maybe some uninvited guests like insects, mice, or the world's worst roommate. No doors. That's right, the only way to keep the cold out was to dig deeper. Not ideal for privacy. Grug always thought frostbite was the worst kind of partner. They built huts with mammoth bones covered in hides. Yes, mammoth bones. Think of it as the ultimate repurposing project, ancient IKEA gone wrong. Grug hear mammoth and he is thinking, big dinner, plus great couch. But, let's be real, after all that work, you'd look around and realize there's no heating bill to split among roommates. Just a few broken bones and fatigue. Now, what about clothing? Think of cozy fur jackets, but instead of shopping at the mall, Grug is making his own with bone needles. That's right, bone needles. Grug would have a meltdown in a modern-day craft store. Forget that sewing machine. You want to keep warm? Just poke a hole through any hide, stitch up a mammoth, and pretend your life isn't the world's first episode of Survivor, Ice Age Edition. It's like dating, you stitch up the best parts and try to ignore the rips. But here's what gets wild, their winter diet was heavy on fat. Like, if there was a food pyramid, the whole thing was just fat on top, and carbs reluctantly at the bottom begging for attention. Imagine trying to explain that to the modern diet culture. Oh, you do keto? So do I, but my diet also includes an entire woolly mammoth. Grug just wants a salad, but too bad his version of leafy green is probably just a moldy patch on a rock. Keeping fire alive for months? That's a whole different game. Forget lighting candles, Grug has to babysit a raging fire, and let me tell you, licking a flame is not a smart choice. If the fire goes out, it's like being dumped with no warning. No chance of rekindling things. Without fire, it's cold nights and worse moods. Just a chilly reminder that winter is always there, like your last holiday family gathering. Now, let's count down the outrageous ways cavemen survived the brutal winter. Number 5, floor heating didn't exist. But they did come up with some astounding alternative methods, like throwing their used bones on the ground for natural insulation. Yes, that's right, nothing warms the toes like the remnants of your last meal, cozy and full of great memories. But here's the crazy part, even with these innovations, you could easily break a leg and become wolf food. Remember, one slip might just earn you a one-way VIP ticket to the local wolf pack buffet. Ever got kicked out of a party? Yeah, not as bad as being dinner for your neighbor's pet wolf. At number 3, you had the ancient rom-com scenario, finding a partner in the Ice Age. Grug sees someone he likes, but instead of a modern fairy tale, it's actually a battle for warmth. If you share your mammoth stew, you might just land that cuddle buddy for the night. Romance was literally about survival. Forget Netflix and chill, it was more like dig a hole and hope we don't freeze together. And number 2, nomadic life meant constantly moving. You think commuting is bad? Try dragging your family across ice sheets, looking for the next mammoth to eat, hoping you don't step on a sharp rock. It's like today's commute, but instead of a car, your form of transport is just your own 2 legs and a heavy meal on your back. Finally, number 1, you think modern life is chaotic? Imagine getting a whole tribe in sync to hunt a single mammoth. That's like organizing a group date, but instead of awkward small talk, it's who is responsible for the spear. Literally trying not to slice your friend in half while bringing home dinner. Forget the question of who's paying? We all know everyone wants that mammoth meat. So, next time you complain about turning on the heater or waiting for food delivery, remember, Grug had it way harder. He had to dig a hole, or a dead animal, babysit a fire, and stay warm all while dodging wolves. So while you sip your hot cocoa, think about Grug digging in the cold, hoping for the best. And as you scroll through your smartphone, remember, Grug's still mad about the mammoth. Stay warm, friends. Catch you next time on Grug Explains, where we explore just how bad showering with a woolly mammoth really was. Grug here about homemade snowshoes. Imagine you're out there, trudging through deep snow. You step, you sink, you curse the winter until you're just a grumbling human popsicle. So, what do? You take some wood, attach a few hides, and voila! Instant snowshoes. Kind of like putting on your cousin's gym shoes he left behind in the cave, except way heavier and much less fashionable. Now, picture Grug trying to walk while wearing them. Grug walk on clouds. But in reality, it's more like Grug flailing through a winter wonderland, and while Grug might have caught a glance of a lovely cave woman, he definitely didn't catch feelings, or his footing. By the way, what do you think they drank in the winter? Grug doesn't know about your fancy warm drinks, but for Ice Age humans, hot drinks were just a dream. If you wanted something warm, it was either stew from whatever chance animal you chased down or melted snow mixed with a hint of desperation. Imagine trying to raise your spirits with a smile and a cup of freezing cold water. This tastes like regret, but at least it's not wolf. Speaking of chasing animals, hunting during the Ice Age was a team sport, or as Grug likes to call it, who can trip themselves while running after mammoth. You'd have your band of neighbors gather and go for the big prize. This was before the time of licensing and permissions. You simply spotted a herd and went full caveman mode. Remember, you're not just hunting dinner, you're risking life and limb while trying not to look foolish in front of your crush. Why worry about love when you could be dealing with frostbite? Oh, here's a wild story. There's this ancient place called Dolní Věstonice in the Czech Republic. Turns out, they found some clay figurines dated around 26,000 years ago. Those cavemen were artists too. Grug wonders, did they also make How to Not Go Crazy Living in a Hole pamphlets? Because that would really help the winter blues. But here's the crazy part, imagine being in charge of decorations for cave parties. Tonight's theme, bone and hide. Grug would just be over there, wrapping mammoth bone decorations, and praying it won't lead to discussions about who has the best winter coat. Trust me, the conversations got heated. And don't even get me started on the hygiene situation. You think baths are a hassle? Grug and his tribe had to embrace layers of filth to stay warm. A shower was more like standing outside in the snow. Yeah, good luck finding the courage to get clean. Hope I don't lose my nose to frostbite. If nothing else, I'll smell like a cave, and that's a choice I made. But let's discuss resilience. Grug sometimes wonders if they had motivational speeches back then. You think it's tough? Well, look at my cousin. Lost his toes to frostbite but says he feels lighter without them. Optimism at its finest, right? Grug can hear his neighbor over the fire. If you think it's chaos in here, just think about how bad winter is. Grug's just nodding, agreeing while wondering, do we even have a plan? Or is it just pretzeling under the warmth of a pit? Now, back to food. The beauty of prehistoric cooking was survival. They didn't have stoves, grocery stores, or delivery apps. Every time there was a feast, it was a full-on celebration, or the agonizing reality of burnt mammoth meat. Oops, dinner looks like charred mammoth surprise. Who's hungry? At least there was always ample fat to bring some pizzazz to the taste. Picture Grug's tribe gathered around a fire, fingers absolutely greasy, shoveling meat into their mouths while someone starts the "Who Can Dance the Craziest" contest. It's kind of like modern-day family gatherings but without the potluck, which by the way, involved no potato salad. Now, with winter predators still abducting unguarded humans who had the audacity to slip while carrying awkward loads of meat, games were on. 1 minute you're enjoying your mammoth carcass, next minute you're running for dear life because you just saw a pack of freshly hungry wolves approach. So, increasingly, these cavemen developed running skills too. Grug liked to call it sprint for your life. It's like cardio, but instead of working out, you're just trying not to be the nearest buffet. But as cavemen marched into deeper winters, they began noticing something curious. They realized that underground was less cold than above ground. Oh no, we don't need to freeze, just dig. Thus, the concept of pit dwellings emerged. A cozy entrapment of warmth, but also a combination of best idea ever and what are we doing with our lives? And don't forget about family dynamics. Living in a hole means everyone's got their own charming quirks. You got the snorer, the long-winded storyteller, and that one cousin who insists on bringing up the time he almost caught the mammoth for the 10th time. Trust me, long winter nights were filled with endless stories, laughter, and dodging some unwanted germ or two. Just think of it as being trapped in an endless group chat where no one has escape routes. As a reminder, keeping the fire alive for weeks on end was no walk in the park. It took skill and patience. They didn't have matchsticks or fire starter kits, they had to rely on friction and skill. While Grug gets sparks, Grug also hopes he doesn't burn his eyebrows off in the process. Seriously, the most dangerous game wasn't just hunting, it was fire management. Finally, as they set off to hunt for warmer climates or food sources, each 2 to 3 month trek was a manicured low point with stunning views. Just envision a family of 11 bargaining over dropped mammoth meat at the next cave, haggling like it's Black Friday, while trying to outpace hunger and frostbite. So while you're cozying up in your heated home, remember Grug's grit and grind in the Ice Age. Take a moment to salute the cavemen out there who survived on raw instincts and absurd strategy with no guidebooks. They may not have seen the creature comforts we enjoy today, but hey, they sure had grit. Whenever life gets tough, Grug says, pretend you're in the Ice Age and be tough. And if you fail, that's just extra meat for the wolves. Keep laughing through the winters, and remember, there's always a funny caveman story ready to warm your heart. Until next time on Grug Explains, remember that sometimes life is just one giant mammoth away from feeling a little less cold. Stay warm, my friends.